What's up, guys? Today we're breaking down Baker Mayfield, and I wasn't gonna make this video because frankly the Tyler Shuck video did enough numbies that I was feeling plenty fine releasing just the podcast and the Tyler Shuck video this week. And you should go watch the Tyler Shuck video because he's a star. And who could have told you that? Basically only me. That being said, I got really pissed off because some factions of Bucs Twitter have kind of always had it out for Baker Mayfield, namely John Ledyard, who is a Steelers fan on Twitter, who for some reason covers the Bucs, and he got off Twitter and stopped talking about football to talk about politics or something for a while, but now he's back, I guess. I don't know. For years, though, he's hated Baker Mayfield, going back to the 2018 draft when he was much higher on Sam Darnold, and he basically just every once in a while comes out of the woodwork to just say Baker Mayfield's terrible and he's everything that's wrong with the Buccaneers, and then just kind of like ignore all the things that are very wrong with the Buccaneers around Baker Mayfield. So he's been online spewing some bullshit about Baker Mayfield missing a lot of reads and not noticing open wide receivers and open targets. And that's just not true. So I went back and I rewatched the entire game, not only to regrade on the All-22, as I always do, but also to particularly look for missed reads, bad routes, and drops. And in this game, I counted 1, maybe 2 missed reads out of the entire game, which is a really, really, really good rate of correct reads. I noticed 4 bad routes by receivers. I noticed 2, maybe 3 drops. And I noticed the offensive line failing almost every single play. And Tristan Wirfs is not exempt from that. I thought he was pretty okay, and I thought the other 4 linemen were all pretty bad. I think it takes some serious delusion to blame Baker Mayfield for the Bucs offense right now. And I'm not saying he was great, but I think this was a solid B game. And I think that people are talking about it like Baker Mayfield's playing C to D football, and it's just not the fucking case at all. So without further ado, let's roll through the film. I'm going to be a little quiet today because I'm recording from the office. I got so impassioned that I decided I'm going to spend my lunch break reviewing film that I've already watched twice, but let's do it. 2. Let's get right to it. Sorry, my voice is going to be a little subdued today. I'm recording in the office. First snap. Nice throw. That's a solid throw. It's not great, right? It's 5, 10, 15 yards downfield. It's a nice window. First read. Solid throw. Good stuff. Second throw, routine, nothing to talk about. Little play action. Touchdown. Now, if you really want to nitpick, if you really want to be a jerk, you could say, oh, yeah, Emeka Egbuka's wide open, 5 yards downfield with nobody between him and the end zone, but technically, Tez Johnson's about to clear in the end zone. Well, ball ends up in the end zone anyway. You can't call that a missed read. That would be totally disingenuous. Next snap. Free rusher. How did that free rusher get there? It's a linebacker, far from a linebacker. It's a linebacker dog blitz. As you can see, Gadecki crashes in. He doesn't realize that there's going to be a delayed blitz, or at least an off-ball blitz. Free rusher in Baker's face. Let's see what he was looking at before when he hits the top of his drop. Here's where he should be looking to throw. Egbuka is open, right? The play is designed to get Tez Johnson in motion. He's going to run like a wheel dig. You're going to have Egbuka on a sail, my favorite. And you're going to have a streak to clear it all out from Shepard. Pre-snap, it kind of looks like it's going to be a cover 3 shell. And it is. They end up sending a blitzer. So it's a 3-3 rather than a 4-3 like typical. But it doesn't matter. It's cover 3. The sail's going to work perfectly. You're going to get in behind that linebacker. And you're going to get underneath this top level. And that streak will occupy that defender. It'll work perfectly. This is exactly what you want. So let's play it out. Again, here's the top of his drop. This is where Baker should be throwing. Now, it's a little too early to throw this ball. You're going to have to get it over Spillane. Spillane is a pretty decently... He's a decent linebacker in coverage. You can try to lob it over his head, but then you're just inviting this safety to crash down. Personally, I think there's plenty of room, right? You can fit that ball right around here and you'll probably be okay. But Baker doesn't want to loft the ball up there, right? That's how you throw kamikaze passes. That's how you get your receivers hurt. And also that's how you throw turnovers in the middle of the field. Personally, I would have rather he thrown it there, but as we can see, by the time the window truly opens, it's covered. So again, Baker can't laser it in here because there's a linebacker in the throwing lane. So you'd have to lob it. It'd have to be like a teardrop. Teardrops take a long time. And if you throw a teardrop to the middle of the field, your receiver's either going to get lit up or the ball's going to get caught by somebody wearing the wrong color. So I understand why he doesn't want to do that. When he bails out of the pocket, Tez Johnson's breaking open on his dig, but Baker doesn't have time to set his feet and drive that throw 25 yards away. So instead, he evades pressure and he flips it out to his running back, who's got all the time in the world because he was originally a blocker. And this would have been a 10, 20-yard gain if the receiver just, or if the running back just catches the ball. I certainly can't call that a missed read. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that there was a linebacker in the way when Baker had his momentary chance to throw the ball. But such is life. Baker Mayfield extends the play and makes a really nice play out of it, right? So you can see here. You can see at the very top of the screen, you can see Spillane is in coverage. And while there's plenty of space back there, Baker Mayfield can't throw the ball through the linebacker, right? So it can't be a bullet pass. It's got to be a nice high arcing pass. It's got to go up in the air. It's got to float. It's got to have a lot of touch. And that's just dangerous to do in the middle of the field, especially when you know you're about to get hit. Because here's the problem. If Baker Mayfield tries to throw a touch pass real high and he gets hit at the same time, that ball turns into a punt, and it's anybody's game. So Baker does the nice, smart, safe thing early in the game, and he just gets the ball out, right, to a check down or a release valve. And look at that. There's not a defender for 15 yards. That's just really unfortunate. Good play, plus pocket movement, routine throw. Good job, Baker. Next play, not as much. What happens here is 51, whoever the hell 51 is, he freelances completely, and he just destroys this play. So Baker is seeing this, and he expects 51 to travel with Cade Otton, the tight end. Right? Cade Otton is running an out, or an option route, but the option turns into an out. And Baker is expecting this linebacker to go with him, which should open up this void in the field. Instead, that linebacker freelances and he creates an interceptable play. Now, 21 was also crashing in on the play. I believe that's Mapu. He was also crashing in on the play. He might have had a chance at the interception. So that's an interceptable ball one way or another by Baker. Let's see what his other options were on the play. I went back a little too far. Yeah, if you look at this play, the only other option that's even remotely viable is throwing the out to Otton. And that's just a simple mistake of Baker expected the linebacker to travel outside, which is typically what he should do. This linebacker completely freelanced, right? In cover 4, because this is what the, let me diagram this whole damn thing. Split field safeties indicate to me probably cover 4 or cover 2. The fact that Gonzo is pressed up tells me maybe cover 4. And then that means we're just going to have the little 3-leaf clover at the second level with blitzers all here. This being the case, Otton is going to run his little option. When he gets here, he's going to decide what to do based on what everybody else does. He's going to run his out, and this linebacker, let me use pink. This linebacker's job, because of where his zone is, in cover 4, is to get everything between roughly this line and the sideline. So this is all his territory. And he abandons his position. He does the wrong thing, but the wrong thing is right in this case. Behind that option, Igbuka is going to be running, I believe it's a dig. I don't quite remember, but it doesn't matter. And these guys at the top are going to go do shit. It doesn't matter. They're not viable. The whole play is right here at the bottom of the screen, and it all depends on pulling this linebacker out of the way. This safety is supposed to get depth. He doesn't get depth, partially because the play is designed poorly. There's nobody dragging him deep, but Baker's supposed to be able to fire that ball in there to Egbuka right when he clears this linebacker, who should be running this way. This is the right read. The linebacker just freelanced. He did some fuck shit. And like, congrats to 51. He had an instinct. He read it right. Interceptable ball. I wouldn't call that a missed read, but I would call that an interceptable ball. All right, this is the play that John Ledyard said was an example of Baker Mayfield missing the read. This is the only play in the game that I could find that I think may have possibly been a missed read. Top of the drop. What's open? Nothing yet. Got to extend a little bit. Got to wait. And here's Tez Johnson cooking an ankle. Now, Tez Johnson's great. Tez Johnson gets open versus man. But it takes him a while, right? He gets jammed at the line a little bit, and it takes him a second to get off his release. So he's delayed. He's supposed to be here a quarter of a second earlier, which throws off the timing of the play. Timing is thrown off. Baker Mayfield has pressure in his face. Baker Mayfield slings the ball out. Baker Mayfield misses the throw. Now let's watch from the tight copy, and you can see what Baker Mayfield's looking at. Here's where he slides, and again, we have a free defender who's converting into a rusher, Spillane. He's about 7-8 yards away, and there's nothing stopping him from getting to Baker Mayfield. Additionally, there's an open receiver in the middle of the field on this in-breaking crosser. The problem is, physics exists, and in order to get it there, you'd have to throw through Spillane. And while you could flip your hips, backpedal, and throw a floater out about here to lead Shepard across the field, that's a tough thing to do. And also, Baker Mayfield's still kind of hoping that Tez Johnson clears that route because that is his primary read. Additionally, you can see Baker is backpedaling. So, like, just the physics of it, the footwork doesn't work for him to simultaneously slide left and avoid the pressure of his entire pocket collapsing, and also throw the ball back to his right, right? He doesn't have his feet under him, and he doesn't have the protection to have his feet proper. So as we roll the film, clean that up for you. By the time Tez Johnson at the very top of the screen has put Carlton Davis on his shins, Baker Mayfield has to make a decision. He's got to get the ball out. It's too late. And at this point, it's also a little too late for him to throw the ball to Sterling Shepard. He's already kind of crossed the field. He's already kind of ran through the opening window. So Baker Mayfield slides out and throws the ball on like kind of a weird arm angle across the middle. And the ball's just a teeny tiny bit out of Egbuka's reach. Now, I will say, Emeka Egbuka had a few plays in this game where I really thought he could have caught the ball, and he just kind of like didn't play it at full speed at the catch point. Kind of looks like he sold there, right? Rather than selling out. But it doesn't matter. If Baker Mayfield tries to flip his hips and drive this ball to Tez Johnson, he's getting thrown while he hits at the very best, because Spillane is 2 yards away. Spillane also probably has a really good chance at batting that ball. Could you argue that Baker should have hit Tez Johnson? Maybe. He probably would have had to keep rolling out to the left, though, in order to do so. And frankly, it wouldn't be smart for him to do so, because if he continues to roll to his left, his only receiver is Tez Johnson, who's a small body, going up against Carlton Davis, who's a big body. And you can't bank on your receiver literally snatching the defensive back's ankles to the point that the defensive back falls down. Like if Carlton Davis stays on his feet, rolling to the left basically means Baker Mayfield's going to have to throw the ball away. Instead, he finds a receiver with a little bit of opening, his favorite receiver, by the way, and he makes a throw that's almost catchable. It's a bad throw, but it's a good plus pocket movement, at least one of them. And there's not a ton Baker can do due to the pressure. I don't think it's reasonable to say that that's a misread, and it's certainly not emblematic of the entire game. 1, 2. Let's keep it rolling. Baker Mayfield with a free rusher in his face. He has no option but to flip the ball out. I think that's Culp. It's backup tight end. I'm not sure who, but whoever the backup tight end is, I didn't realize how easy of a, well, not easy, how catchable that ball was. Watching it live, I graded it bad without a thought. It looked very bad, but realizing now, like the receiver slows down, the receiver gets fingertips on it, the receiver misplays the ball. I'm tempted to grade that as routine, but for now, we'll leave it as bad. Here on this play, Baker Mayfield bails out of the pocket, and he might have bailed a little too early. Right, you have some time here still. Rolling to the right is also definitely not your best bet for a few reasons. Number one, the leverage of the offensive line means you should bail to the left. Why? Because 90 is shoving Luke Gadecki back, which means that you want to get between, or you want to have an offensive lineman between you and the defender. So by running to the right, you're taking your offensive lineman away from his block. If you roll to your left, you're setting your offensive lineman back up into his block. So if Baker rolls to the left, yeah, it's way harder to throw while rolling to the left, but one, you'll have better protection. And two, most of the routes are over on the left. So you'll just have more options. Now, as you can see, nobody's open. I wonder if John Ledyard watched this on the broadcast angle, saw Baker Mayfield scramble, and said, somebody's got to be open down there somewhere. Well, they're not. I guess you could technically throw this ball to Otten, right? Right here. Otten crosses the face of 21, and he's technically open. But by this time, Baker's already moving the pocket. Now, if he slid left, maybe he can deliver a strike to 88 right at the 37-yard line. But that's a really tough throw. And that's not, it's certainly not open within the bounds of this play. The bounds of this play being that right here, the pocket's breaking down, and right when Baker chooses to leave, there's a linebacker and a safety bracketing Cade Otten. Right now, as Baker rolls away, sure, Otten looks more open, but if Baker had rolled to the left, this Spillane, he's not simply going to roll left for no reason, or roll right to his left, Baker's right. He's going to spy Baker. So if Baker rolls to the left and tries to throw the ball to Otten, then guess where Spillane's going to go? And guess what he's going to catch? The ball intended for Otten. So that's not open. There's really no way to say it is. And then you can kind of say that Sterling Shepard's on this corner and he's going to be open, but again, it's the razor thinnest of margins on third down, and you'd have to throw an absolute dime while rolling to your left under pressure. Not feasible. So, as it actually is, Baker rolls out to his right, and pressure just crashes in. Nobody's open, there's nowhere to go with the ball. Baker reverses field. That's 2+ pocket movements. He has to juke out his own right tackle, who's so confused. Or I guess it's his right guard. He has to juke out his own guard to try to turn the ball upfield. Obviously, there's no check down, and obviously, you can't expect Baker Mayfield to throw the ball 35 yards while running for his life. So he's got to reestablish the pocket. And if Tristan Wirfs makes this block, the Bucs are in business because Baker can set his feet and he can throw the ball right up there to Sterling Shepard at the top of the screen. But Tristan Wirfs is kind of spacing out. He doesn't realize that this is a scramble drill and he should probably set up the crackback block, obviously doing it legally, of course. But if right here, see 78, he's just kind of standing there. If he gets over there and he picks up 44 instead of letting 44 tackle the quarterback, if he does anything on this play, we're cooking with gas. But he doesn't. And I understand, it's tough. But again, no misread at all, definitely. And the offensive line letting Baker down on third down. There's a routine screen we don't need to talk about. But the constant theme in this is Baker's offensive line's not holding up against a really bad defensive front. Here, Baker recognizes the blitz, he points out the blitz, he sets the protection properly, he just misses the throw. Right, it's a good job of setting the protection, sliding everything to the left to pick up number 31, the free rusher, but Baker just misses his throw. And again, now this is where Ledyard might say like, oh, Baker missed 88. Well, keep in mind the down and distance. It's 3rd and like 2, right? Baker Mayfield needs a couple yards, and his best receiver, or at least what he thinks is his best receiver, is running a whip route, number 2, Egbuka. Egbuka's a little bit slow out of his break from his whip, right? See how he has that little hitch in his step, that little reload? Baker throws the ball hot because he's got a defensive tackle in his face again on a quick pass. That's a failure of the offensive line, not a failure of Baker. Otten can be open all he wants, but Baker's not looking to like hit a downfield shot. He's looking to like the play is designed. Can we get Egbuka in man coverage? Yes. Okay, if that's the case, then throw the whip to Egbuka. Now, it is a little frustrating because if Baker had looked to the top of the screen, he would see, yeah, Rachaad White is wide open in the flat for a first down. Cade Otton is wide open on the slant because his defensive back fell down, 51. I guess that's a linebacker. It's frustrating. But Baker Mayfield's not, he doesn't have enough time. Right here, Baker Mayfield's got to make a decision. Is my number one receiver going to win this route? If he believes that his receiver is going to win the route, he has to throw it because he's not going to have the time. There's a free rusher. There's a defensive tackle 5 yards away, and there's nobody left to block him. So, top of the drop, there's his first read. Personally, I'd come off of it. Right? You got Christian Gonzalez. First of all, I'm never targeting Christian Gonzalez when I have Emeka Egbuka against him, right? Like Emeka Egbuka is a slow wide receiver who can't beat man, and Christian Gonzalez is the best cornerback in the NFL. Don't throw that. If I'm Baker Mayfield at the top of my drop, I'm looking to read two. Read two is either Otten on the slant or Rachaad White on the flat. They're both open. I believe that this is the first missed read Baker Mayfield has in this game, and even still, there's plenty of separation. It's just a bad throw. So, I guess we can call this Baker Mayfield's first misread of the game. Crucify him at the stake. It's just a bad throw. If he makes a good throw there, it's routine and nobody cares. Here's a really lovely throw. This is solid. Far hash, out route. Use more Tez Johnson. He is that guy. He is the Bucs' best receiver. Period. Another routine throw on the curl. Well done. And here's a tricky one. So I would have liked to see Baker throw this sail route to I'm spacing on his name. 17. Sterling Shepard. Shepard's going to run this big, sexy oppo corner or sail. I'm not sure which. I don't care. And Egbuka's going to run a dig behind it. Perfect. Right? Off the snap, we have single high safety. So I'm thinking this is going to be one of two things. It's going to be man defense across, or, and if it is man defense, that means we have a linebacker in man against our number one, or our number two receiver. I'm taking that. And if it's not man, then it's almost certainly going to be cover 3 zone. In which case, I'm going to have Sterling Shepard on the post part of this, right? So the part where he's splitting the safeties. But also, I guess, you will have Emeka Egbuka certainly wide open on the dig because digs always beat cover 3 if they are run or sorted through even remotely properly. Run the play, and there it is. It is cover 3. 7 does not get enough depth. He busts his coverage. This should be a busted coverage touchdown if he throws to Shepard. Instead, Baker throws to Emeka Egbuka, his number one receiver. Is it a missed read? I mean, I fucking guess. Like, instead of throwing the busted coverage touchdown, Baker Mayfield only throws the 25-yard completion for a first down. It's a great throw. Could have been a better play, I guess. But are you seriously mad that he took a profit? There's a routine screen we don't need to talk about. This play doesn't make a lot of sense, but I wouldn't call it a missed read. You have Rachaad White with one man to beat in the flat at the 20. It's the far side of the field, sure, but you have the arm strength, and frankly, that just means that Rachaad White has more space to work. Baker's looking at him and almost throws it to him, but for whatever reason, he has a brain fart and he hitches, and he decides instead to come back down to the bottom of the field. Now, I believe that if he had thrown the ball in the flat to Rachaad White, maybe it's a first down, might even be a touchdown. Throwing to Otten puts you ahead of the sticks, right? It's 3rd and 5 in a must-go-for-it situation. But I don't like that decision. Again, not a missed read, definitely a drop. But still, routine throw. And a few more. Yeah, this is a great read, actually. It's just a really bad throw. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know if Baker like feels uncomfortable with somebody rolling near his feet or what, but that's just a really bad throw. And as you can see, Baker wasn't really pressured. So that's just a bad throw. It's not very excusable, but bad throws do happen. Here's another bad throw. Again, great read. Everything works out perfectly. The corner route is open. Baker just overthrows it a little bit. Sterling Shepard stumbles, but honestly, I think he stumbles because he's trying to catch up to a ball that's overthrown. Like, really good pocket manipulation. Great job to keep processing and reading downfield. It's just a missed throw, and it's a tough throw to make. So I get it. Here's a routine one. Here's a pass interference. I'm not going to grade a pass interference. Here's a good throw. There's another good throw. Where's this offense, right? Like the Bucs need to be throwing downfield and abandoning the run way earlier in these games. This one, no one to go to, right? It's a bootleg left. He's booting left. There's no one to throw to. Nobody's open. So what's he going to do? He throws the ball away. Totally fine. Here's a perfect throw. Would have been a touchdown. Egbuka drops it. Now here's a tricky one. Pocket holds up decent at first, but then suddenly breaks through the middle. Baker Mayfield steps up and through, and right here he could throw a touchdown to Egbuka, but he's scrambling and his feet aren't set properly, so he doesn't. Instead, he continues to roll out and makes a perfect throw in the back of the end zone for a touchdown anyway. Great throw. Plus pocket movements. You cannot argue that that's a missed read. That's excellent football. And that was a misnomer if you saw that. Here, another routine little throw. Nothing open downfield. Get it out. Great job. Live to fight in 3rd and short. Motion, play, action. All right, now what are we going to do with this ball? I don't see anybody open. Do you see anybody open? No, I mean, at this point now, you can air it out to Tez Johnson and say, go win a race to the ball. And that might be what I would do. But Baker Mayfield's saying, fuck, dude, it's 1st down. Let's just get something. And he throws a strike to his tight end. It's just not caught. Let's make sure it was a strike. It's a little late. I think Baker was toying with the idea of throwing a Tez, but doesn't work. Yeah, it's too late. It's a bad ball. It's an accurate ball. It's just a bad ball because it's too late. Steps up and through. All right, now where should he have gone? At the time of escaping the pressure, there's nobody open. The offensive line fails him again. Routine throw. Routine throw. At this point, the Patriots are starting to play some really soft defenses. And then here, this is really unfortunate. Sterling Shepard with the pick play. Sterling Shepard just needs to run around number 15, and the Bucs convert this 4th down. And this is a real game. But instead, they got a punt, waste a bunch of time, and it's not a real game. Next drive, Baker Mayfield doing his best Houdini act again. So here's the top of his drop. Free rusher. Tristan Wirfs gets beat like a drum. Where's Baker going to go? Sterling Shepard is open in the middle of the field again, but once again, Baker Mayfield has a free rusher to contend with. He has to step through, and he gets hit before he can ever actually set his feet again. It's a no-fault sack. It's a bad rep from Tristan Wirfs, a really bad rep. I don't know what you want Baker to do. That's a routine throw. Another routine throw. All right, top of the drop. Where do you want to go with the ball? I see nothing. So Baker Mayfield checks it down. Routine. We're still only looking at the one arguably missed read the entire game. Here's a nice play. Are you mad that Baker didn't try to gun it on the post on 2nd down and instead settled for the 1st down with Yak? I'm not. This is a bad route, right? Cameron Johnson, who's a backup for a reason, despite unworldly speed, he throttles improperly, right? It's not zone. Your man defender is behind you. You don't get to just slow down. You're not in a void. So he slows down. Baker thinks he should continue, and the ball still hits him in the hands. It's a good throw. It's just a bad play by the receiver, both in route and in hands. Hits you in your palm, you got to catch it, buddy. Don't believe me? Looks like he's kami-kami-haing that thing. Routine. That one's tight. So let's watch the play again. Top of the drop. Where are you going to go with the ball? Obviously, you have to go to Otten. Nobody else is open. Patriots are playing clouds. Let's see the tight copy to see how catchable it was. It might have been a little bit late. Yeah, it was a little bit late. You'd like the ball to be out just the tiniest bit earlier. But the ball is square in the face. You would expect a possession tight end to catch this ball and hold on to it. I will grade it as routine. It is a perfect throw. Again, you do expect a tight end to catch that and hold on to it, especially because Christian Gonzalez isn't exactly a bruiser. But it is a little bit of a hospital ball. It would be good, but because of the hospital effect, I'm gonna drop it down a little bit, one category. Here, Baker Mayfield, top of the drop. Who's open? Nobody. Nobody's even gotten out of their release yet. Baker Mayfield has a free rusher in his face. And he breaks 2 tackles to flip the ball out. And people are mad at him anyway. This is 4th down, by the way. This is unreal pocket manipulation. Just breaking tackles and flipping the ball over his head as he stumbles backwards. And here we have garbage time. I'm not going to grade these, but just to prove that Baker's not missing reads here either. Nice throw. Here, Tez Johnson runs a bad route. Right, so you can see he kind of rounds off his hook. He's supposed to come back towards the ball, and instead he kind of just like drifts and gets clumsy with his footwork, and because of that, he's a yard further back of where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be 1 yard closer, which means that the ball would be infinitely more catchable. It's a bad route, and that's why Tez Johnson, despite being the Bucs' best receiver, doesn't get a lot of targets. It's because he can't be trusted. Here, Baker just misses, nothing to it. It's a fine throw. That's a fine throw. And this is a great throw. This is the kind of throw that I wish Baker had made during like competitive football, because this is really, really impressive. Slides up, plus pocket movement. Throws while hit, plus pocket movement. Let's call this 25 yards downfield. Strike on a dime. That's a great borderline elite throw. But we don't grade it at all because it's garbage time. Doesn't matter. So Baker Mayfield started the season out hotter than all hell. Through the first 6 weeks, he was on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Then week 7 against Detroit, he was pretty bad. But since then, he's been fine, right? I gave him a B for his performance against New Orleans. He wasn't asked to do much because the game was over pretty quickly. And I gave him another B for this game, right? He was accurate on 84% of his aimed passes. He avoided pressure over 21 times on 31 dropbacks. I mean, the guy was under siege, and he is just constantly making plays with his feet, with his arm. Now, no, he didn't hit any deep balls. He only threw 1, and he wasn't as explosive as we'd like to see on the stat sheet, but that's largely a function of the offense they're calling and the receivers they have. The only receiver that they have right now who can get open against man is Tez Johnson, and Tez Johnson can't be trusted to run the right routes. Tez Johnson can't be trusted to go up against bigger bodies. Frankly, Tez Johnson's a rookie who only really started playing 3 weeks ago. Baker Mayfield needs to trust him more, but it's going to take time, and that's normal. I think Baker Mayfield was perfectly fine in this game. If not, he was good, if not great. And I don't really see any cause for concern. Like, he threw the interceptable ball. We established in the video, it was interceptable. And if it wasn't interceptable, it'd still be bad because 21 was breaking on that pass. But the reason that the linebacker had a chance to make a play is because he freelanced. He abandoned what he was supposed to do. So Baker Mayfield read the defense properly, read the play properly. It's just you can't predict the unpredictable. If somebody's going to shirk their job to do something different, There's no accounting for that. So overall, I'm not worried about Baker Mayfield at all. I still think he's a top 3 quarterback in the league right now, if not top 2. And I'm certain that if the Bucs ever learn to protect him, the Bucs offense will immediately improve dramatically. However, I don't think that the Bucs will be able to protect him at all, because if they can't hold up against this terrible Patriots pass rush, they're not holding up ever. Not against the Bills, not against the Saints, not against anyone. So with that, I got work to get back to. I'm going to go make a call. But until next week, keep grinding film. Hasta.